Welcome. Welcome to week 8 of 52 weeks with Spirit. I don't know where you are in the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. At least that covers the basis. You know, this week I was trying my best to figure out what we should talk about. What should be the guidance this week? And I really just tapped into Spirit this week. This morning at 5 a.m. as I was doing my morning ritual. And I just said, Spirit, what do we need this week? What do I need? What does my clients need? What do my viewers need? And one of the things that keeps coming up repetitively the last little bit is impersonation, is imposter syndrome. And so I thought, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about imposter syndrome. What is it? But I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give you some facts, and then I'm going to tell you how I've experienced it and how it has affected my life. So why do we sometimes struggle with our purpose or feel like we're not being authentic? One of the main reasons for that is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a psychological experience of feeling like a fake or a phony, despite any genuine successes or achievements that we've achieved. It can show up in the context of a work, relationship, friendship, or just overall every day in our life. It's very common and a very frustrating phenomenon because it holds us back from the self-confidence we've earned and deserve to feel. Right? How many of you have struggled with self-doubt? I know I have. Well, imposter syndrome may feel like nervousness, accompanied by the belief system that somebody will find out the truth. It can also manifest as negative self-talk. Symptoms of anxiety and depression are often accompanied by imposter syndrome. It's also one of the most hardest mental health illnesses to diagnose. Because the term imposter syndrome is usually narrowly applied to intelligence and achievement. Although it has been linked in the past to perfectionism and the social context of life. Not only can imposter syndrome affect your internal feelings about your work or your self-worth, but it also actually affects the way you approach projects. And yes, I'm reading from something I wrote from notes. It essentially will create a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is what makes it so insidious and necessary to address when it arises. There are 5 different characters of imposter syndrome: the perfectionist, the expert, the natural genius, the soloist, and the super person. How do you know if you have imposter syndrome? Originally, the concept of imposter syndrome was thought to apply mostly to high achieving women. Since then, it has been recognized as more widely experienced phenomena. Imposter syndrome can affect anyone, no matter their social status, their work background, skill level or degree or expertise, their gender, their age. It can affect anyone. And it is estimated that 70% of people will experience at least one episode in their life of imposter syndrome. So for me, imposter syndrome came at the very beginning of my spiritual journey. It came at a time in my life when I looked at everyone else and was like, I am not like them. It came at a time in my life when I started to connect with spirit and I was like, I'm wrong. I'm not doing this. This is all in my head. And it recently affected me when I was named as Canada Choice Award winner for spiritual healing. You know, getting a label like that, an award like that, is such a great achievement. Any of the certifications I've gotten has been great achievements. Even getting 18 years clean is an amazing achievement. But in my mind, I still think I'm an addict. Do you want to know some of the ways that you can figure out if you struggle with this as well? Ask yourself these following questions. Do you agonize over even the smallest mistake or flaw in your work? Do you attribute your success to luck or outside factors? Are you sensitive to even constructive criticism? Do you feel like you will be inevitably be found out as a phony, a fake, or a fraud? Do you downplay your own expertise, even in the areas where you genuinely are more skilled than any others? If you often find yourself feeling like a fraud or an imposter, it's time you talk to a therapist, a counselor, a coach. This negative thinking, self-doubt, and self-sabotage that often characterizes imposter syndrome can affect many areas of your life. Some common characteristics of imposter syndrome is the ability to realistically access your competence and your skills, attributing your success to external factors, berating your performance, fear that you won't live up to expectations, being an overachiever, sabotaging your own success. We've all heard of self-sabotage. Self-doubt, setting very challenging goals, feeling disappointed when you fall short. For some people, imposter syndrome can fuel motivation to achieve, but this usually comes at a cost of experiencing constant anxiety. You might over-prepare for work much harder than the average person. Eventually, anxiety worsens and leads to depression. For the last 3 years, that's where I've been. And I've been waiting for the moment, the time to talk about it. And I didn't want to do it in a big public atmosphere of fear of judgment. But I'm hoping by sharing this information or my own experience with it, that maybe, just maybe, I can help one person. One person realize that they're not alone. That if they're struggling with this, they're not struggling by themselves. And that there's help out there. And to learn more about imposter syndrome, you can talk to your doctor or your counselor, or even get in touch with me. I hope this week that this lesson, this message, this guidance can help you. Don't go it alone, because you're not. I may still at times struggle with it as well. And at times I am famous at self-sabotaging my own success. But when you live your life repetitively through a limited belief system, or the limited BS bags that we carry around with us, and that negative talk, it's sometimes hard to realize how worth it we truly are. So I hope this week you'll be gentle. I hope this week you'll love yourselves a little bit more. You'll forgive yourself. And most importantly, you'll just be your authentic self. Don't allow your fears of being who you're meant to be stop you from living the life you deserve and you're worth of. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Love and light. Namaste. And remember, you're loved, you're seen, you're heard, and more importantly, you're valued. Namaste.